What a time for y'all to be a fan of the New Year Knicks. And I call them the New Year Knicks because they're 15-2 in the year 2024. So when the Knicks are balling, we're taking advantage of all the content opportunities around here. Let's talk about the vibes of the city with Phil Porto, co-host of the Knicks Morning Brew. Phil, what a time to be alive. It got me bankhead bouncing in the streets.
Yo, Brandon, first, thank you so much. Thank you to the SNY family for always having an open door for us at the Morning Brew Sports. So thank you so much. But like you said, man, it is a crazy, crazy fun time to be a Knick. Like, it's hard for me to imagine people that aren't enjoying this. Like, you have to be extremely miserable as a person to not enjoy everything that we've seen since the start of the new year. That OG trade changed so much for us, and now we're starting to actually get the things that we've desired for so long. So I'm extremely happy to be with you right now.
So thoughts on last night's win against the Pacers and how this run just continues?
Yeah, and so here's the thing. We have to be honest. It was not a pretty win by any means of the word. Like, it was not a pretty win. But it was a very telling win and a win that we needed, because we won this game because of two things, in my opinion. And that is the heart and the grit that this team has. They kind of remind me of like my two favorite movies growing up, The Sandlot and The Mighty Ducks, where it's a bunch of undervalued, overlooked, underappreciated players that kind of just like rewrite their whole story and silence what everyone else thinks of them. Like, there were so many people that have counted us out for a very, very long time. And even when we made trades, you know, I followed Jalen Brunson in Dallas, but there was a huge part of even the Knicks fan base that was not on board with that signing. And we see how that's turned out. And we'll talk about that more later, I'm sure. But every single thing on this team is the heart and the fight. You have guys like Achua and iHeart that are combining for 35 freaking rebounds. Like, that's going to be hard to beat a team that is pulling down 35 rebounds with two guys. And Precious Achua is one of those people that when he came to our team, so many people on the show were like, yo, after 2 or 3 games, get rid of him. He's a bum. He's not a good player. And I was like, yo, slow down. He may not be able to fit in instantly like OG has, but give this guy time, and I think he'll show up. And he has. He has shown up. He had 4 steals, 2 blocks, was locking down Siakam, which is not an easy task. And then you have guys that we were willing to like have on the bench that stepped up in the trade, that some people were like, oh, let's get Brogdon in instead of McBride. McBride doesn't have it. Well, without McBride in that game last night, we don't win. Like, he stepped up when we needed him most, when Jalen was starting to get tired. You have Dante DiVincenzo, who's coming in, not just elevating his game, but he's elevating the team with his assists, his defense, and even his blocks at times. And the last flowers I want to give, and honestly, this is weird, I have to say salute to the in-game coaching. And I didn't think I'd ever say those words publicly. And now, since we had our show this morning, this is the second time that I've said that in one day, because we played a fast-paced offense. And typically when we do that, we try to slow them down and make them play our game. But we changed that up last night. We met their intensity, and we were able to stop them at their own game, which was truly impressive. So Tibbs does deserve his Coach of the Month award.
Phil, it's a lot of receipts being pulled around here. Like you said, a lot of people questioned the Jalen Brunson signing, Precious playing, how much time he was going to get. Tom Thibodeau's gone through the ringer. So has Julius Randle, and now all of them are getting the love from the city. In fact, Jalen Brunson, as you know, is getting those MVP chants. Now, I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news or the gloomy Gus here. Stay with me on this one. If a fan outside of the Knicks fan base said that the city is setting up Jalen Brunson for disappointment by hyping him up so much, what do you say to that? Because there's still a second half of the season and playoffs ahead.
Yeah. And so this goes back to the whole thing that we talked about when it came to like the all-star voting and everything like that. The only people that are going to say that are people that don't watch ball, that are simply just fans of a player or fans of the hype. They watch certain things. They see the highlight reels and stuff like that. And let's be honest, the Knicks don't get the media they deserve aside from you guys, Kendrick Perkins, but mainstream media is not really highlighting what Jalen Brunson's doing. He's had back-to-back 40-point games. He's had 50-point games. He's had this, he's had that, but he's not a highlight dunker, or he's not the fashionable name with 10 million followers, so he doesn't get the praise and accolades he deserves. So for me, why is it okay to have that kind of hype when SGA is having a good season, or when Halliburton's having a good start of the season, but it's not okay for Knicks fans who have seen this guy earn every single praise that he's gotten and be able to say, yeah, we bank on that? Because at the end of the day, if you look at the title Most Valuable Player, MVP, that is someone that is the most valuable player on their team. You cannot say that Jalen Brunson does not deserve to be considered the most valuable player because he has the most impact on winning for the Knicks organization. We are where we're at because of the play of Jalen Brunson, if we're completely honest. There's other guys that have done a great job, but he continues to put us on his back. So if you look at other teams that have players that are MVP candidates, like even Jason Tatum,
yeah.
Well, if Jason Tatum's out, they still have crazy talent such as Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, and Jaylen Brown that are all all-stars that they can rely on.
Yeah.
Our best next player is Julius Randle,
Yep.
and as good as he is, he's not those guys. So Jalen Brunson deserves to be considered MVP, whether it's the start of the season or the end of the season. He has worked at it so far, and he deserves it.
You had me at hello, Phil. You had me at hello. I'm ready to sign up to be your assistant vice president to the Jalen Brunson fan club because you just broke that down. I'm like, you know what? When you think about it and you really listen to what you just said, you're correct. He means more to this team than any other star out there. But he has to, the national media, the national fan base has to get on board, and that's going to come Saturday night when LeBron and the Lakers come into town. And as we know, the Lakers aren't really anything special, but LeBron James does bring the national spotlight. So do you think there's more pressure on the Lakers for the win since they're struggling? Or is there more pressures on the Knicks to get the W at the Garden to keep this thing rolling?
Yeah, for me, honestly, I think there's more pressure on the Lakers. You know, like you said, They haven't really done what people expect them to do. They keep reworking this franchise to try to make it LeBron's great team that'll win a chip, and it's just not happening. And so there's a lot riding on it, which makes me go, okay, there's a reason that LeBron and AD sat out the other night against Boston. Because who has the greatest story right now for people that are actually watching the Knicks? Who has the greatest record in 2014 thus far? The Knicks. So why would LeBron and AD not take that as a challenge? They are people that are used to being in the media, used to being the face of NBA basketball for, you know, everybody to watch. So for them, that's a huge thing. Okay, we're playing bad, but now let's win this game and silence everybody and make everybody talk about how we were the ones to break that New York Knicks win streak. And so I think there's a lot to do with it. And I think that, like, we also have to be careful not to take the foot off the gas because even with them sitting down the other day, we can't take any team lightly. LeBron and AD both sat down against Boston and they still won. Austin Reeves had 32 points in that game to defeat an all-star like cast of the Boston Celtics. So we have to make sure that we are up to par and ready to play like we were last night. Probably better than last night because there were some ugly moments there. But I really hope that OG is back for that game. That's one thing that'll really set things apart because we could use his presence offensively and defensively. But bottom line, I don't go into games scared anymore like I used to. You know, I used to be like, can we play this team? Can we win? Now, for me, it's more of a shock if we're not in it or at least winning that game. So for me, I'm not worried about the Lakers. I think we'll take it. And I'm going to have that attitude until this Knicks team proves me wrong.
The Knicks got the fan base saying bing bong with their chest. They said it with their chest. And look at AD and LeBron using the Knicks for clout. Like, you rest against the Celtics, but you want to come and try and be the party crasher at the Garden Saturday night at 8:30. Phil, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me at Twitter, Phil__all_caps, and on YouTube. We are at Morning Brew Sports. I'm live Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 11 a.m. co-hosting the Knicks Morning Brew.
Appreciate you hopping on with us, my man.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Have a good one, brother.